Hey everyone, day 7 of distance learning. So today we're going to talk about mutations and how the environment can actually influence mutations. And I want to say happy May 5th or Revenge of the 5th. Any of you Star Wars fans out there? All right, so after today's lesson, you should be able to explain how an environmental factor can cause mutations to occur and how these environmental factors can relate to mutations and can relate to cancer. And we're not going to talk too much about cancer, which is kind of a bummer because it's very interesting and something that's very relevant, but I'm going to try to have you make those connections between them. So what's an environmental factor? Anything biotic or abiotic that's going to influence a living organism. So remember, biotic is something that is living, abiotic is something non-living. So I gave examples of soil, water, sunlight, UV rays. Those are all abiotic because they're not living. If I were to talk about plants, that would be a living or biotic factor, or other organisms would be a living or biotic factor as well. All right, so what environmental factors are known mutagens? Okay, a mutagen is anything in the environment that can cause a mutation to occur. All right, so I took this picture and I kind of wanted to leave it there to remind you. Any type of chemicals, nuclear power plants, any type of radiation, right? Even radiation from, let's say, like our phones, laptops, even electric vehicles. They're trying to do some research around that. But any of those types of things can potentially be a mutagen, causing mutations. Now, I want you to remember, I'm not saying that all of these things are going to kill you, you're just going to die. I'm trying to tell you that they could cause mutations. Maybe these mutations are harmless. Maybe these mutations are more serious, right? It just kind of depends. And we'll talk about what infectious agents are in a minute. So again, mutagen is anything that can cause mutation. So UV radiation is a common form of radiation. The sun is your friend in some ways, but again, too much sun exposure is not good. X-rays, that's why if you go to the dentist, they put that really heavy mat thingy over you and they step out of the room. It's because they don't want to get exposed to too much X-ray radiation, and they also don't want to potentially get you exposed too much as well. All right, then you also have some chemicals that could be in various products, including makeup, chemicals in food, nitrates and preservatives, and they put hot dogs here, but it's in a bunch of stuff. Cigarette smoke is one. Bacteria spread through contaminated food, and HPV, which is a sexually transmitted virus as well. So these are things that are known mutagens that do cause mutations. So UV radiation and mutation. So I wanted you to connect that cancer piece. And so UVA radiation from the sun, that can cause a mutation. Now, if that happens in one cell, that might not be a big deal. But remember, cells make copies of themselves. So if we make a lot of copies of a cell that has wrong DNA or a bunch of harmful mutations, we're going to end up getting a cancerous cell. It's going to start developing a cancerous tumor, and that's not good. Okay. A carcinogen is a substance that's capable of causing cancer in living tissue. And I wanted to bring this up because I know some of you might have seen this. So have you seen any of these signs like, hey, in Disneyland, there's stuff here that contains things that are known to cause cancer, birth defects, other reproductive harm, or if you've seen a sign at Starbucks, you've seen them everywhere, right? You probably have. And basically what this is there are certain substances in paint, in certain types of plastics, in a bunch of different things that could potentially cause cancer. So in the state of California, this proposition, Prop 65, said, hey, we need to warn people of this. It doesn't mean that if you go to Disneyland or Starbucks, you are going to get cancer. Doesn't mean that. It just means that there's things that you should be aware of, okay? So what are some known carcinogens? Asbestos, like things that were used to make building supplies a long time ago. Industrial smoke and tobacco smoke. Some plastics, right? And there's some differing opinions here, but a lot of, not all plastics are the same. Plastics that are reusable, great. Plastics that are one-time use, like those plastic water bottles, those have a lot of phthalates in them, and they have things that are harmful if you use them repeatedly, okay? Pesticides, right? Anything that we use on our vegetables and fruits to kind of make sure that no pests get our fruits and veggies, that can be harmful as well. So how does this happen? Again, we have a normal cell. Then we get some cells that have DNA mutations. Okay, now there's a bunch of ways that we could get those DNA mutations. I kind of listed them there. And then when we say uncontrolled proliferation, that means it just grows spontaneously. And that's what makes cancer so harmful, is when your cells usually stop growing, cancer doesn't listen. It grows nonstop. And so that's damaging. So the takeaway from this is your environment and the decisions you make can change your DNA and the DNA of your children. Remember that it's not just one decision that's going to make a huge, huge, huge impact, right? It's not like, oh my gosh, miss, I had a caramel frappuccino, I'm going to have cancer. No. It's when you make a lot of repetitive decisions and it accumulates, that's when we get the biggest factor. So if you go outside and you get one sunburn, okay, I don't want you to, but all right. Now, if you go outside and like every week you're getting a sunburn, your chances of getting skin cancer increase significantly, right? So keep in mind, just make those safe decisions. Think about your health, think about your well-being. I hope that this has helped you, and I hope you have a lovely rest of your day.